Hey y'all, welcome back to Right at the Wire. Well, as part of our Belmont card series, today we're going to handicap Thursday's stakes double at Belmont. Two pretty good stakes races, and we'll take a look at the sequence right now. First leg of the stakes double is the eighth at Belmont. It's the Jersey Girl Stakes. It's for 3-year-old fillies run at 6 furlongs. Number one is Red Carpet Ready. And we have seen this, the good and the bad with this one. Clearly she prefers sprints. So this 6 furlong distance is a cutback from 7, so it should be advantageous. In the 8 Bells showed a nice effort to beat Money's Gold, who did re-rally. And that was the only thing that's a little bit of a concern to me, is that Red Carpet Ready really didn't put Money's Gold away. Now, that's a talented horse. That's true. But you wanted to see a little stronger finish than that. Now, it wasn't 7 furlongs, so you are cutting back to 6, which definitely helps. And Red Carpet Ready's coming off a career high buyer in that effort off of a layoff. So those are very positive things to look at. And she did show some grit to actually win. She probably could have folded her tent when Money's Gold re-rallied, but she didn't. So there are some things to like here. And in this field, she's definitely one of the ones to consider without question. Number 2 is Wild Hawk. Tom Albertrani has resurged this year. He was having a fallow period, and his barn's going really well right now, so that's something to think about. However, this one just broke her maiden and is now going into stakes company with, you see a little bit of a progression with the buyers, but that's obviously not going to be good enough against the likes of Red Carpet Ready and Chocolate Gelato. Other little interesting thing to note is the works on the tab are getting slower every time. They're all 4 furlongs. So if you go back to April 21st and follow it forward, they're slowing down each time. I don't really think that's a good sign per se. It's a minor point, but the bottom line is this one just isn't fast enough. Unified Alliance is trained by John Service, and this one is another one that you can see every time they jump this one up in class, crash. And so the better efforts were at lower class levels, and that's really what the big concern to me. And now you're going into stakes company against a couple of really big hitters, so I'll pass on this one too. Despite one thing you can't say, route to sprint is always a nice angle, but I don't see the top end here with this one would be competitive, particularly since she likes to run on the front end. Chocolate Gelato, this horse I was never a big fan of her at 2. I thought she was way overrated going into the juvenile fillies. And she, didn't disappoint me because I didn't think she was going to run well, and she didn't. She's by Practical Jokes, so obviously sprints are more what she's going to want. So you have to like the cutback there. That makes a lot of sense. You get Irad Ortiz with Todd Pletcher. That's a pretty automatic connection. You Mike Rapoli on the Belmont Stakes Festival. So a lot of good things to like here. This horse, I think, is coming off of freshening. It has been a while, but Todd Pletcher is good at bringing him back. This might be a tune-up for a graded stakes. That's really the only thing I can fathom that might be something to think about. But I fully expect this one to run a good race, and I like over Red Carpet Ready. I just think this one has a little more bottom. Aunt Becca is trained by Cherie DeVoe, who's a nice trainer, and she does some really good work. You got Joel Rosario aboard, and for the horses on the front end, I don't know that I like that very much, but this one has been, the last effort once getting off synthetic, had ran a really nice race at the starter allowance level, and if you consider then maybe you think about this one a little bit. Cherie DeVoe's good at bringing them along, but I do think that she's in a little bit over her head here. Another jump forward would put her in the mix. That is true. But I never like seeing a horse who won easily at a lower class level than stepping it up. I mean, I want to see a little more of a challenge before I get excited. So I would probably pass on this one. Girl Trouble is interesting because If you look, she is coming off a 4-day layoff. So they're wheeling her back after 4 days. Now, I looked it up, and Butch Reed has done this before once, and in this exact scenario, and got a second. So take that for what you will. This is a horse who clearly has an iron constitution. You see 12 starts already, and has been favored at Parks most of the time. Really solid, solid horse at Parks. But I think maybe the rubber hits the road here. I think this stepping up. I'm not sure this one matches up with the better ones in the field. Paco Lopez is on fire right now, and he is the regular rider, so you have to like that. But I'm probably going to look elsewhere. I like this horse at a lower at Parks, but I think these are kind of deep waters for a 4-day wheelback. L Street Lady is intriguing to me. Trained by Brittany Russell, who's a really good trainer, wins a lot of races down in Maryland. And you get Manny Franco aboard. This one has made steady progression. Something went wrong in the wide country there, and obviously went to the bench. But I think rebounding in the Miss Preakness in graded stakes company, acquitted herself really well. Broke poorly, but that may just have been a product of having a layoff and maybe just getting her feet under her. But kept on in that race, more importantly. And that was the thing I really liked. Maple Leaf Mel, nobody was going to beat her that day. But she ran a good race, and it was a career-high buyer coming off the layoff. So I think this one's kind of intriguing. Brittany Russell's 21% second off the layoff. Granted, the ROI is only 84 cents, so it usually means she wins with chalk. But that's not a surprise being in Maryland. She's a good trainer. I think she's going to have this one ready. And, if this one can lay off the pace and perhaps there's a little bit of a meltdown between the two favorites, this one could be there. And I think it's kind of intriguing at 10-1, and I'm probably going to use. Second leg of the stakes double is the 9th at Belmont, and it's the featured race, the Grade 2 Wonder Again Stakes. And it's for 3-year-old fillies running in about 1.1 miles on the inner turf. And if we look at the configuration here, you do see that it starts, you're pretty much into a turn as you start. So horses to the inside might have a little bit of an edge to those outside, but you do have plenty of time to make up any problems there. So, if you had early speed on the inside, you had a really big advantage. But I think it's for this scenario, I don't see any really big impediments to anybody. Number 1 is Venencia, trained by Chad Brown. He's got 3 in this race, as always, in New York on turf. So it's another Chad Brown Invitational. Got Rod Ortiz aboard. You can't knock those connections at all. I mean, they're winning at 41% at Belmont and 30% overall, so pretty good. This one, ran it on synthetic in France at 1 mile and 3/16 and got the job done. So I don't think the distance is going to be an issue. First start in the States was kind of mixed. Really, the thing more than anything was this one had a lot to do late. And you see it was all the way at the back. And maybe takes a little time to get going. Now, that was a product of a slow break in the gate, so maybe we can attribute that to this one being the first time in North America. But a running style like that is problematic in this race, and that's my biggest concern. Otherwise, the buyers are a little light in comparison to some of these others. So this one is capable of taking a step forward for sure, but I have some reservations about. Juniper's Moon, trained by Anthony Dutrow, and he's having a good meet, as you can see. This one's doing some good things. She debuted or came off the layoff with a career-high buyer, which you always like to see in the last race. It was an optional claimer and didn't win, but, you love to see that running line that says willingly. And that means a good race, I think, is in order. So that's a positive for sure. You see prior to that, the Florida Oaks down to Tampa did okay. for a third, but wasn't able to close the deal. It's a little bit of a concern that's a speed favoring turf course. And this one was up near the lead and then just couldn't hold off Mission of Joy or Alpha Bella. So that's a bit of a concern. This isn't this is a kind of probably a tougher field, so that's a little bit of an issue as well. But I wouldn't talk anybody out of using Juniper's Moon, especially since she likes to stay up near the pace, and there really isn't much in this race. So tactically, this one might be in a pretty good position. Be Your Best is a horse that 3-year-olds, we see quite often. They just don't progress from 2, and I think this is one of them. You see a plateau pretty much at 2, basically stayed around the same buyer level. And what you always want to see is debuting at 3, a career high best, which indicates that this one's probably heading in the right direction. Well, that didn't happen in the Appalachian and really didn't have any excuses at all. It was in perfect position for the whole race and just kicked it into gear and just didn't have it. Now, you could say that this one needed a race. That's true. That's possible, but you also note that Horacio de Paz is not the greatest with long layoffs. So I'll look elsewhere. I think this one isn't progressing. Number 4 is Revelita, trained by Chad Brown. You get Jose Ortiz aboard. And this one looks, every bit the part of a stakes winner here to me. Getting more ground, which will definitely help the late running style. I think this one's a little handier than the 1, and I don't think necessarily has to be way in the back. So that's a plus. The Edgewood last time was a nice race, and this one was closing into a track I think was favoring speed a little bit. Heavenly Sunday was on the engine for the whole race. So this one had some good kick and had some things against her. If you look at an 84 buyer is a really good number for this race, and I think this is one you absolutely have to consider. Expansive is the lone pace in the race, so it's pretty obvious what this one's going to do. My big concern is Joel Rosario aboard. He's not the greatest on the turf, and particularly with front runners. So I'm a little concerned about that, but it is Rapoli stable. It is Todd Pletcher, and it's a big stakes weekend, and Todd loves to have win races in the big stakes weekends. He gears up for them. You can see this one's going to be on the front end, and it's just going to be a question of if she can wire. She's likely going to slow the pace down. That is going to work against the 1 and the 4 with their late running styles, but and this one I think is demonstrated that can probably handle the class jump here, and I would use because it could very well wire the field without much challenge. 30 Thou Kelvin just isn't good enough. That's the bottom line. I think that's fairly obvious. Is 0 for 4 on turf, and I just don't see enough here to get me excited about this one. And there's just so many more others who appeal more. Prerequisite, another Chad Brown. You get Flavian Pratt aboard. Interesting that this one is that last race was at 1 1/8, so it can handle the distance. But something that was kind of interesting to me is that she rated throughout the race, made a move at the top of the stretch, and it looked to me like Flavian Pratt stopped riding her when she cleared the field. And it was only when Highland Grace came flying up the stretch that he roused this one to get going and did show enough kick to win. I think probably could have won by a little bit more. So I think there's more in the tank with this one. And tactically, this one will be right behind Expansive. And I think that's a really good place to be. And I'm fully expecting another step forward. I would definitely use this one. All-American Beauty is got some mixed signals here. Shug McGahee is not having too good a meet. He was killing it at Tampa. You see this one ran a couple back at the Florida Oaks, and that's a little disappointing when the barn's that hot and he doesn't have a horse who wins or factors in the money. So that's just a little side thing. This is another one that's going to be coming from the clouds, and you got to wonder if maybe this one will have a little too much to do late. However, there's been a little freshening, and I did come up with a career high buyer in the last one. Granted, it was at the N1X level, but it was also at a mile and an eighth. And if I know Shug, I mean, once he gets them in that mode where they start improving, they don't stop. So I think there are some things to like here, and you're going to get a pretty good price at 8-1. And I think maybe more in the money or underneath is a better bet. But I think it is kind of a wild card to the Chad Browns that maybe you think about using this one. For the Belmont Stakes Double on Thursday, June 8th, we are going to use number 4 in the 8th race as a single. That's Chocolate Gelato. I think it'll be a little fresher, and I think that one has a little more in the tank than a Red Carpet Ready will for the race. I would put as an option, parenthetically, I put the 7, L Street Lady. I think has a pretty good shot to upset the apple cart, and you're going to get a nice price. Might want to include that, but I'll leave that up to you. And in the 9th race, we're going to use Revelita number 4, number 5, Spansive, who could steal it on the front end, number 7, Prerequisite, and number 8, All-American Beauty. Sort of as kind of a wild card. Shug McGahee, when he gets them in good form, they usually stay there. So that's a $4 ticket at a $1 base. So obviously you can skew that up to max it out if you want. But that gives us a nice economical ticket to take on what possibly could be a fairly chalky double with either a Red Carpet Ready or Chocolate Gelato coming in the top. So there you have it. It's a nice quick hit before the big fun of Friday and Saturday, where we got some major stakes on the horizon, and we'll have sequences for you on those as well. Plus, be on the lookout for the elements of handicapping. We've got speed and pace yet to come, and they'll be along shortly, so you'll have those to digest. And of course, if you do like what you see here, please like and subscribe. And we do thank you for coming by. Keep those comments coming. I'd love to hear from you guys. And I'm sure you're getting as excited as I am for this Saturday's Belmont. Really looking forward to it. So I'll be talking to you in the very near future. And until then, be well.